Beginning in the shape of sitting, cross-legged with the right leg in front, resting the hands on the knees, tuning in and setting up our soft bilateral rhythm, side-to-side movement, brushing across the midline. Very strong through the legs, pressing into the earth, moving the earth side to side, reciprocal to the movement of the upper body. And we begin by leaning into the right side, then letting the heart float across the midline over to the left. And as you approach the left leg, reach the right arm across the midline, and then backstroke the right arm as you come up, following the hand with the eyes. Setting the right hand behind us deeper than usual for the push. So this is a greater load on the right shoulder, so you may want to use your left hand to assist. And then we'll come up. We're going to keep the right hand where it is, and then as you swing the right leg out to the right wrist, lift the hips into a side squat. Feel the shape through the whole body. So there's a soft gaze internally that encompasses all of our embodiment, all of our field. Then lifting the hips, hop the right leg behind you across the midline into a crossed crouch and continue to move. So the side body really opens up and tonifies here as well, becomes more intelligent. Keeping the legs, we're going to stand up and then staying relatively low, pivot all the way around to your right, about 270, opening up into a cat stance with the right foot leading. So creative space, very powerful in the hips. We're going to chamber the right knee, lifting the right knee high, keep the standing knee bent, and then step the right leg forward slowly, consciously. Then bring the left knee up into a chamber, and then a slow kick, a slow extension of the left leg. Then wrap the left leg behind you, left knee behind the right, and come down into a crossed squat. And then we'll have a seat. So we're going to let the left hip come down, unwind the right leg way out to the right, and fold the left leg in front. Keep a bend in the right knee, and then we're going to side bend over the right leg. Pull the back of the right heel down into the ground. Float the heart to the left, low, across the midline, side bending inside the left knee. Then move back across the midline over to the right, pulling the right leg down into the ground, come back up for the first of 3 cycles like this. So side bending over the right leg, moving across the midline, over the left leg, side bending over the folded leg, go back across the midline to the right, over the right leg and pull up. And one more time, very strong, no stretch, lean in over the right leg, float across the midline to the left, float across the midline to the right, and pull down into the earth and rise. And then we'll look to our left and step the right foot outside the left knee, lift the hips up into a crouch. And moving straight away in the longitudinal pulse, front to back, back to front. Also, try to sit deep. Take the sits bones way back in the back half of the movement. Very strong in the back of the front leg. And then we're going to drop down into a long squat over the back leg. So the right leg will remain in front. Use your hands for assist, taking care of your knees, and continuing to move in the longitudinal pulse here is fantastic. Then we're going to turn the right foot and the right knee forward, lift the hips, and fly the left leg up. Anything goes here. Bend everything, lengthen everything, play. And then to exit, we're going to have a quarter turn to our right. We're going to bring the left leg down and wrap it around the right ankle as we sit down. Returning to the shape of sitting, cross-legged now with the left leg in front. And in these moments in between the 2 sides of the sequence, it's a great time to just return to breath, releasing residual tension, loosening old patterns, the acknowledgement of those patterns dissolving through the awareness and through the deep intramuscular nature of our movement, of our conscious animal movement. So we're moving side to side. Here we go into the other side of the sequence with the hands on the knees. We're going to lean to the left. Pass through the midline over to the right. And as you approach the right side, reach the left arm across the midline. And then backstroke as you come up, following the left hand with the gaze. And set the left hand back behind you deeply for the push. Fully retract the shoulder blades, very strong through the whole body. Don't forget your legs. Don't forget your feet. And come on up. Now we're going to open the left leg out to the left wrist and lift into a side squat. So good for the hips, for the low back, for the legs, the knees, the feet, the soles of the feet. And then as we lift the hips, we're going to fly the left leg just across the midline behind us to cross a crouch and continue to move. The movement in the cross crouch is more diagonal. The pelvis will float diagonally over the feet in general. Beautiful. I'm going to keep the legs and come up to standing, balancing, and then turn, pivot to your left, unwinding into a cat stance with the left foot leading. So the weight's in the back leg. We're going to chamber the left knee. And then consciously stepping forward, turning the left leg out 40, 50 degrees. Stepping forward, chambering the right knee. And then a slow kick with the right leg. Wrap the right leg behind you into a crossed squat. Left knee over the right knee. And then lower the right hip down. And unwind the left leg out to the left. The right leg folded in front. Keep a bend in the left knee, and we're going to go 3 cycles here, side bending into the left side. Sweep across the midline over to the right leg, folding inside the right knee. Sweep back across the midline to the left side, pulling the back of the left heel down and coming up. And once again, side bend over the left. Float the heart across the midline to the right. Very strong through the left leg as you lean away from it. Float back across the midline to the left. And pull up. Beautiful. One more time. Side bending over the left leg. This last one is the strongest. Sweep across the midline to the right. Stay low, traversing the midline one more time over to the left. Keep a coil in that left knee and pull on up. Now we'll look to our right. We're going to step the left foot outside the right knee and lift up into a crouch, moving longitudinally. So the greater the distance that you cover, brushing the spine front to back and back to front over the sky, the more you're really opening the hips and releasing tension from the back line, the sides of the body. We're going to drop onto the back leg in a long squat. Still moving. The dance continues, is ever present. Turning the head, loosening the neck as we open the hips. And then we're going to set up a launch of the right leg. So hopping the hands forward and playing in this space, the right leg flying, everything curious. And then to exit, we're going to have a quarter turn to the left, and we're going to wrap the sky leg around the left ankle as you turn and sit, returning full circle now to where we started at the beginning of the phrase. And returning to neutrality, returning to our practice of emptiness. I can't articulate enough how miraculous it is to, when we're embodied enough, to choose emptiness. To choose emptiness, which means to release residual tension from things that have already come to pass in the last few moments, the last few days, weeks, years, lifetimes. And cultivating from that experience the distillation of what is so precious. Many blessings, deepest gratitude.